Good evening. Call the City Council meeting to order for Universal City. It is at 6:30 and call for Quorum Check.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Councilmember Bulman.
Here.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Here.
Councilmember Putt.
Here.
Councilmember Rubal.
Here.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Invocation tonight was given by Councilmember Goolsby, and I'll please send the pledge.
Please bow. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. Lord, we look forward to tomorrow's weather. Lord, we ask that you bless us each day. Bless our citizens, bless our first responders, and our safety officers. Lord, be with our families and all of those in our community. In your name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We got quite a few, a couple of interesting presentations tonight, and we also have a couple of other items that might be a little lengthy meeting, but we'll try to speed through as fast as appropriate. First, call for the staff report.
Thank you, sir. We have two staff reports. We have Alexis and Austin. They are with Meals on Wheels, and they're going to give you a rundown. And before they get started, they have left applications for anyone who feels like they need so inclined to serve meals in the Universal City area. And then follow that, we'll have an update on the projects at the end. Thank you, sir.
Hi guys, first of all, thank you guys so much for having us today. Again, my name is Alexis and I'm here with Austin, and we work for Meals on Wheels San Antonio. In particular, we work with the community engagement team. So going out and speaking to the community, both sharing the mission of Meals on Wheels and all the different ways you can kind of get involved with our program. Next slide. Yeah. So Meals on Wheels, who we are. So our mission is to promote the dignity and independence of seniors or just anyone who's disabled and maybe homebound, who is in need of nutritious meals, companionship, and Alzheimer's care. So just some basic things about Meals on Wheels. We have served over about 4,000 clients across San Antonio. Our clients, they're not individuals who have like income needs or a strict age requirement. So we are truly need-based. So we just service anyone who needs those meals, who needs a home delivery meal, who needs to see a friendly face. Maybe they're lonely, maybe they live by themselves. They've done well in their whole lifetime, but they just don't live with anyone to help make that meal happen. So that's where we kind of come into play. Next slide. Yeah, and so we have a whole bunch of different services. We're mostly known for those meal deliveries, but we also help out with education services for our clients. We help with their pet food. We help with kind of being a friendly visitor, bringing the community into them. We have coffee casas where we can help build ramps, help with doorbells. Oh, I'll keep it going. I have it. It's kind of froze. And yeah, so we can do a whole bunch of different things for our clients. And that's just, we offer a whole variety of services where volunteers are really the true backbone of Meals on Wheels. And that's kind of why we're here. Next slide. I'll let Austin take over this part.
So right now the main volunteer delivery opportunity is going to be that meal delivery service. So like Alexa mentioned, we currently serve a little bit over 4,000 clients that are not able to go out and get those meals themselves. Around 2,000 of those clients are directly served by volunteers like you all. So volunteer support is a big part of the mission and our ability to get those meals out to those clients. Next slide, please. And the way this opportunity works is we have several sites listed throughout the city. The closest one to here and the one that the universal city routes pick up out of would be Maranatha Bible Church, which is just off of 604 going south. Volunteers will pick up the meals they need for those routes at one of these sites that they sign up with, and then from there they would go to deliver their meals directly to those clients, at their residencies. Next slide, please. And so the map shows the delivery area that we serve in the Universal City starting area. So we offer these meals Monday through Friday. The pickup window is around 11 to 12. So just to make sure we're getting these clients a lunchtime meal. We have the routes around 8 to 15 clients that ensure that the routes only take around an hour for the volunteers, and they're sequenced in an order that would make it around an hour. Next slide, please. And then to that, we have several big events throughout the year that we ask volunteer support with. In addition to delivery, the next upcoming one, of course, is going to be that Thanksgiving delivery. So we have the shifts open for that on our website, which we have some flyers which you're able to get through that as well to see that opportunity in assisting we get those clients that Thanksgiving meal on Thanksgiving Day. So, next slide. And so next is the follow-up services, which Alexis will.
I'll be brief on this because, like Austin said, our biggest need for volunteers is going to be that meal delivery. So being that person, being that companion to go, like Monday through Friday, we have these opportunities. So maybe once every Monday, you go and you'll deliver to Miss Sally, who's on Pat Booker. You'll just go knock, you'll get a snow cone on Bahama Bucks, and you'll just go and you'll deliver, and you'll have a great time with the client, just kind of doing each, like visiting them and like giving them their meal. But our friendly visitor program, that one is a little bit more unique. Say you're out doing meal delivery and you find someone that you really connect with, that you just want to spend a little bit more extra time with. This friendly visitor program is going to be a great opportunity for that. We can go to the next slide. And so with the friendly visitor opportunity, you're able to do these what we call friendly visits. It's a one-on-one visit on your time, so you have true autonomy also with the client to kind of schedule these, where you'll just go in person and hang out, honestly. You'll go play board games, you'll watch Jeopardy, you'll just talk about your grandkids, your kids, and just kind of do different fun activities with their clients. And this one really helps fight that social isolation that we really do see a lot in our homebound seniors and our neighbors. So it's a really good program. If you're really personable or you just find someone during meal delivery that you connect with, we can always get you guys connected through our friendly visitor program if you want to spend more time with them. Next slide. And then lastly, you can go next one too, is our Anna Meals program. So we realized that I love my pets and a lot of our clients love their pets too. It might be the only family members that they have that are local in San Antonio and Universal City and Converse. So we help distribute over about 5,000 pounds of pet food every month. This is one of our programs that is truly donation sustained through like individual donors. Corporations can help sponsor Anna Meals, and then volunteer sustained. So it's almost 100% delivered by volunteers. And so it's a really great opportunity too if you want to meet some of our clients, and also you're delivering to someone with a furry friend, so you get to see their cat or their dog. That's the animals that we serve right now. Maybe in the future we realize a lot of our clients have chickens, so if you ever get chicken feed donations, we'll send it out. We'll try to help our clients keep their furry companions, because again, it is maybe like their only family member. It helps fight that isolation that we do see in our clients. You can do the next slide. Yeah, and so if you guys are interested in getting started volunteering, like they said, we have some paper applications out in the front that can either be, you can give it to me and Austin, we're gonna be sticking around the whole meeting, or we have our email, and then also there's our phone number that you can either text, scan, send a picture of the application, or there's a QR code on the papers outside too that will take you directly to our online application. So we brought paper ones if that's your thing, but we also have an online application if that's your thing too. And you go to the next slide. And then lastly, we always want to know if you or anyone that you may know may need our services, please give us a call. We have a dedicated client services team of about, I think it's 10 to 15 individuals who are dedicated to help sharing and getting people on our services that may need it. So if they can do it quick over the phone, there's an in-person visit when you can kind of get closer to be added on to services. And special notes, you do not need to be over 60 to qualify, and you do not have to have a strict income guideline. So you can, like if you have a lot of money, if you have a lot of assets, but you still have that need, you can still be on our program. So it's kind of just wanted to share that and kind of let anyone know that if you know someone or you may yourself maybe think you can qualify for these services, please give us a call. We would love to have you on board. Yeah, and that's basically it. Thank you guys again for having us today.
Thank you, Alexis. Side note, a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to deliver meals in Universal City with, I was invited by our representative, John Boulman, and it was quite interesting, and it was very it was engaging and eye-opening. And if you do have the time and effort, please, this would be a good outlet for you to use. And we close that section off and go into City Manager report.
Actually, we're still under staff reports.
I'm sorry.
We're going to do some updates on the Olympia project. So first up, we have Ms. Randy, and he's going to be talking about the stormwater project that we did on hole 8 and 9. And then after that, Sal is going to come and talk about the greens. And then the effervescent Katie is going to close it up and talk about the clubhouse renovations that are now complete.
Mayor, Council, I'm here today to present the golf course drainage improvements. I'm happy to say that the project is complete. My department and my staff basically manage this project, and so we'll kind of give you some pictures of what it looks like. This is from the tee box on top of the hill there at number 8, looking down towards, and what we're focusing on is this 8 green right there. The project was actually built between 8 and 9. Next slide. This is downstream looking upstream as it leaves the golf course. This is again the same picture, a little closer in. Now this is downstream, so this is inside the new channel here where we have the blocks there to slow down the flow of the water there. And now this is the finish. This is where we side profile looking from downstream looking upstream here. And then there's this inside the channel. This is basically, it's all concrete, that's it. It has it where it grows the vegetation through those blocks. And so that those baffles that are in there will slow it down, but also it will also seep through and flow out down at the bottom there. You can see this one here is looking upstream. The vegetation's growing a little bit more on this side. We're standing on top of the bridge now, looking upstream. Again, another upstream picture. Now this is upstream looking downstream. So this is basically everything coming off I-35. Now with the open channels that we have there, we'll go in or right here, and then exit out the downstream side there. And then this is where the golfers will enter. It's two-way traffic basically on this bridge. You'll see the 2 car passes up on the hill there. That's where the right side is 8 and the left side is 9. Again, another shot of the finished product.
So as an overview, can you explain, because not all the council members have been out on 8 and 9, what the issue was before all this work was done?
So the original course, basically where you see the channel is right now, they had an underground corrugated pipe from there. So over time of the course, that corrugated pipe corroded and started failing. So the ends of it, basically a lot of, at the entrance of the pipe over there's a lot of it got damaged due to trees and debris that would hit the culverts through there. And also a lot of times plugged it up. So when it plugged up, it overtopped. When it overtopped, it would flood the course. And then on the downstream side, it acted like a waterfall. And so it started eroding. And then so some of the coordinates we would lose downstream. So if you remember before, if you were out there, there's a big old ravine that we had fenced off there. That was a safety concern. So, but for the most part, over time, it got plugged up. And so the fix of this, which the Corps engineer liked, is that we opened the channel, basically not closing the channel up like it was before. We opened it up to allow that water to flow freely through there and back in its natural state. So this is the finished product. Questions?
I'm not a golfer, but what happens when they hit my ball in there?
It's gone forever.
Is that, I mean, that.
Yes, it's, unless you're wanting to walk down in there on the downstream side, you can actually walk down there. But yeah, it's a hazard, it's considered a hazard. Yes, yeah, it's a hazard.
So if you lose your ball, we can sell you more at the clubhouse.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ricky.
Any questions?
Sal? While Sal is getting set up, I don't think some people realize, I think this is the area Randy will confirm, that we can kind of tell when the rain hits Bernie, how long it will be before that same water on the land will hit the golf course. Really? That's how far the water travels before it hits the golf course.
About 5 hours it takes to get.
About 5 hours. Wow.
All right, well, first off, thank y'all, Mayor, Council, for allowing Katie and myself to come up and talk a little bit about the upgrades to the clubhouse and also the golf course conditions. It seems like we've had a lot of projects going on at the golf course lately, but I promise you they're all coming through and looking very nice. As you know, back in June, we came to y'all asking for funding to resurface our greens. Thankfully, y'all decided to say yes, and we appreciate that. And you're going to see some wonderful changes in the golf course. Let's go here, where we at? All right. So we installed the Paspalum greens back starting July 1st. This process took about 3.5 months for us to complete. During that process, we stayed open by using temporary greens and charging a discounted green fee of $25. The silver lining of all that was, as we were able to create a new marketing dynamic by these golfers who were paying the $25 who had never gotten a chance to play Olympia before. So a lot of them have told us and expressed that they plan to keep Olympia in their rotation moving forward. So we made lemonade out of the lemons we had in front of us. So that was very positive, and we're excited about that. All right. So this is what we were faced with. This photo is 5 months apart. This is May 13th and then October 13th. This is hole number 11. This is how the greens actually look. So you can imagine the kind of press we're getting online and how everybody perceived the golf course and honestly the management of our golf course. The greens themselves had something called winter kill, and there was honestly nothing we can do. So again, we appreciate y'all approving the funding. As you can see on the right side how much better it is. That's just 5 months, and months coming down, April of next year, the course is going to look even better. So by planning the Paspalum, obviously in the council meeting we had where they came and discussed everything that comes with Paspalum, the one thing that we understand is that this grass is very aggressive, it grows very fast, and it loves the sodium in our irrigation water. So there's plenty of benefits for the maintenance side of it. As for the golfers, it creates a smoother and aesthetically pleasing putting green. Golfers love having consistent conditions. Consistency is used for golfers. It's huge for golfers, although they might not be good with it themselves with their golf balls, so we're going to provide it with our conditions. We're there. So here's some of the online reviews that we got. A couple of them are pretty negative. But the one that I like to stress the most is once everything's over with, the bottom right-hand side, it says, played it today, well done Olympia Hills, well done. It's incredible. The change of our perception has went from 180 degrees from don't ever go out there, it's the worst, save your money, it should be free, they should be paying us to this. So thank y'all again. That's awesome. And all right. So next up, one of the new things that we're getting to use is called Placer AI. So it's a valuable tool for us, and it helps us make informed decisions on, regarding marketing strategies and helping us understand our customers' behavior. The map that you're looking at right now is a 4-week map. It lasts 4 weeks of the traffic of how they're coming into the golf course. And as you can see, that most of our traffic comes from the greater San Antonio area, and also as far north as San Marcos and Kyle. We definitely plan to use to leverage these tools to make better decisions on our marketing down the road. So the financials. So since COVID, we've seen a resurgence in the golf popularity, which has allowed us to create new opportunities for us to expand our reach. The problem that we were facing was, although we were getting more golfers, we couldn't technically charge more because of our course conditions. So even though we were getting golfers, the course conditions were improving. The more golfers means more traction on the course, more wear and tear, so it was kind of actually hurting us. So let's see where I'm at. So we couldn't really see the benefit in the increase in the popularity of golf. So down on the right side, you can see in our financials, in 2022 to the end of the second quarter of 2024, we averaged $37.50 a green fee, and we also averaged 115 rounds of golf. This October, we started charging our rack rates on October 1, and since we're averaging $44 a person, and we're averaging $138 a round of golf. So the expected annual revenue growth is it's going to be $260,000 or more. So by saying that, based on our budgeted numbers for the rounds of golf for this fiscal year, we plan to see a return in our investment by the end of this fiscal year. So we're, again, I don't know how many times I can say we're super excited, but we are super excited about the golf course. Lastly, I want to thank y'all for believing in us to carry out this project, and I also want to thank Jeremy and the rest of the staff at Olympia Hills for everything they've done, all their hard work to get the golf course where it's at. Thank y'all very much, and I'll hand it over to Katie.
All right, thank you. Good evening, council. Thank you for letting us come up and chat a little bit. So I'm going to talk about the remodeling, basically mostly of the floors. So I've been at the golf course 12 years, and I know it's crazy. And just to see the transformation of when I first started to where we are now, and the growth is amazing, and we're very excited about it. So I think I was in middle school. I was just telling Sal, I was either in middle school or high school, and I watched this movie called The Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez, and I fell in love with it. And that was like, I saw it, and I was like, that's my aha moment. That's what I wanted to do. And marrying Matthew McConaughey. But, just kidding. But anyway, so it was just a passionate of mine, and I went and I studied marketing at Incarnate Word, and I also have a minor in interior design as well. And so it's kind of neat to see those two passions that I have with redoing, remodeling, and with weddings. So it's been exciting. So, okay, we were very excited. This is the banquet room, kind of when I first started, and we thought this was like an amazing picture, right? So we were very excited to showcase what the banquet room could do. And so, are we ready? And so this is what it looks like today. So again, I feel like it's like an HGTV show almost, because you're like, oh my gosh, look at how dark. The drapery is dark, the flooring is dark. The lighting, everything about it. We didn't even have that focal wall in the back. And so now you walk in and we can show the room, and we have these beautiful floors and this beautiful open space that looks onto the golf course. and just how light it is, and we're getting so many great compliments for it. It's been kind of like what Sal said with the golf course. It's a 180 degrees. We don't have the stingy carpet that we had. Well, back on that carpet lasted a great time. Like whoever installed the carpet, it lasted 12 years, and the durability of it was fantastic. It had just reached its end of life, and with stains and not being able to clean it as we needed to. So this was definitely a necessity. But when you walk in and we don't have to lay the dance floor down and we have this beautiful room, it's been amazing. Let me go back. And so we decided to go with a herringbone pattern in the banquet room, which definitely creates a level of class that we felt. It has movement in it, and it has that design feature that kind of elevates us up just a little bit more. The rest of the building does have a more traditional layout of the plank, but that's a couple with their first dance. It's one of the first couples that were able to utilize the flooring there. And then here you'll see we used to have to put a dance floor down on top of the carpet. Now each one of those panels in the picture on the left, they were 50 pounds each. And my staff had to pick them up and we had to put them in place. And if it was off by a couple centimeters or a couple inches, I'm very OCD and I like it exactly how it is, we have to redo it. And then the other thing with the dance floor is it created a ledge on the side, so it wasn't even with the floor. So it was a tripping hazard, and we'd have people trip on that flooring. So now they can dance on the floor that we have, so we don't have to put the dance floor down. We can actually have a larger dance floor space. So it's just the way that the design is with the tables and chairs that we can use for it. And one of the things I'm really proud of, it wasn't in this project, but I do want to highlight, is that focal wall behind the bride and groom. So before, it was a partition, and we used to like cover the partition with a drape. It was like a hidden drape that we had. And then you have those mirrors, and the problem that we were having is the photographers for weddings were taking pictures of the sweetheart table, but the flash was going off, and so all the pictures the bride and groom would get back, the flash would be in there and the pictures would be ruined. Well, then we created this flooring with a contractor a couple years ago, and it's amazing, and we get lots of compliments on that wall. This was, again, a before and after of the foyer, and so you can see that traditional plank that we had versus the carpet beforehand. And one thing we also did in the past too is we redid that wall to have that design element to it, and it's beautiful, and this is one of my favorite photo opportunities that we have. And so this is Selena, this is the bride that got married recently, and it's just a really cool background for that, and I think with the flooring it stands out. Great. Next we're going to go into the lounge. So I was joking with Sal, I was like, if you ever see a picture and you can create a sense from it, you remember the way they felt or the way that those chairs smelled, like that is what this picture is for me. So when I first came in, like I said, these were fabric chairs, and the golfers, I'm married to a big golfer, they sweat, and they would put their arms on there and the sweat would drip in, and you couldn't clean those chairs good enough. And so we're very fortunate now to basically you can see the class kind of moving forward from what we have in there with the new furniture, but you can also see the black ceramic tile that we have. So we went from the carpet in the restaurant area to a black ceramic tile. It's easy to clean, it looks super classy, and we've actually, in this photo that we have, we realize that it's its own space, and we can actually sell it as that own space as well. So we created a rehearsal dinner package that it's just another revenue stream for us. And so people love it. We don't have to worry about the difference of the saltillo tile and the carpet as well, which we would have customers trip on it. That tile, the saltillo tile was slippery, and so we don't have to worry about it. It's all one level, and with a little bit of even little lighting fixtures that weren't very expensive, we were able to transform that space. It's kind of like a diamond that we polished, and it's just really neat to see the potential that we have it. And so weddings now, they rent out the ceremony site out back, and then they also do the bar and patio area as a cocktail hour to serve as a transition piece before they go into the reception room for dinner and dancing. And so they also can go out on the golf course, and I wanted to mention how beautiful the course is. And I think I'm very fortunate because I get to see it at sunset. I don't think there's a lot of golfers that get to see it. Mostly they're wrapping up, but I get to go out on the course and take pictures of the bride and groom when they're out there, and it creates amazing marketing materials as well. And we decided to cancel our outsourcing marketing firm, and so basically we are doing it mostly in-house now. And we sat down and we took kind of from customers to our employees to different generations, and we're like, okay, help us figure out who Olympia Hills is. And one of the consensus that we came out is the service that we offer is the best commodity that we have. And so we really take that into consideration with everything that we do. I feel like our bar is almost like Cheers. You come in, you know our name, you know our bartenders' names, and so we try and people our customers are our best commodity that we have, and we want to do whatever we can to help them and create those lasting memories that we want to do. And so I kind of joke with my husband on this one. This was from a bride, and she said that Katie, who I dubbed K10, because she's absolutely perfect. So I told my husband, like, hey, now you gotta refer to me as K10. But in all seriousness, these are just, I pulled some. If you go to Wedding Wire, you go to the Knot, you can see that the service is there. And so now with the service that we offer, these are from brides that are complimenting us on our staff. Service has been there, and so the building needed some improvements, and so now we're here, and we're so fortunate because we're able to just keep going in that momentum that we have. And so I just wanted to follow up. Since the flooring project was done most of the flooring project, at least in the banquet room, middle of July-ish, where all the construction was kind of done, we have booked 7 weddings, 12 other events for the event revenue totaling $150,000. And then a little bit on the average F&B spend per golfer. So we calculate this out. This is 8 years back, I want to say, from 2017. And so you can kind of see the trend of, this is golfers coming in and purchasing snacks, beer, alcohol, food in the bar and grill that we have. So you can see that the trend goes up. It does dip down during COVID, but it goes back up. But in Q2 this year, we were at $6.90, which we hadn't hit that low in 7 years back. And so it was kind of crazy. I think golfers were frustrated with the way that the greens looked, and they didn't want to come in and have a beer. They didn't want to come in and order food from us. They literally wanted to finish their round and leave. They couldn't get off of the property fast enough. And so that also showed in my employees' tips as well. And so this last month, so we pulled the numbers earlier today, and we are currently at $11.77 per round for food and beverage spend per golfer. So, yeah. I think that is, yeah. Thank you, guys.
All right, city manager report. So you've seen what happened in the past. And as you council will remember, you've actually provided some funding for future projects as well. One of them that we talked about the most is the golf course parking lot expansion. And so if Maribel can pop up my presentation so the audience can see it as well. The council has it before them. So we had a scope for this project, and that was to expand it. So we have Spa Glass coming up on Friday. We know they have 212 players. So just for that tournament alone, we go into the dirt area, out behind the houses. We spread out into the residential areas where we really don't want our golfers and people parking. But also when we have the wedding and a golf day or a wedding and a golf tournament at the same time, it's the same issue over and over and over again. So council had given us some direction to go ahead and start looking at a parking lot expansion. So I'm going to do my presentation and then ask for some direction from council at the end. So currently we have 136 parking spaces. The plan is to add 114 spaces. And so what we had found during the renovation of the clubhouse for the flooring, we had an accessibility review that got done and we got dinged. And our front entrance and part of our parking lot is not ADA compliant. The slope is too much, especially going into it. So we know through that we have that mandate, not a mandat, but a mandate, to correct all of that, and I'm going to talk about pricing on that in a few minutes. And then one of the other things that we have looked at, which is an optional thing, is some sewer line expansion in case at some time the council deems that it's appropriate to either expand the clubhouse or the golf facility or to separate the clubhouse from the golf operations. So the scope of the project, the estimated cost of construction that we have for the 114 parking spaces and the ADA compliance that we have to do and a sewer line extension comes up to $640,000. Now we had anticipated that it would only be somewhere around $450,000. So I indicated what all the work was for. $333,000 is for the parking lot, and that's for all of that. And then a sewer line. So if you can imagine when you're looking at the golf course off to the left, where there's a cluster of trees, when we met with an architect and we talked about if we have to expand, where should we go, what should we plan for, they said, oh, the house is over here, you can't go there, you're going to fall off the cliff. So Randy had done some preliminary estimates to see what it would be if we had to put the sewer line out there to accommodate the building. And so that was $104,000. The ADA mandate to add in the ramp and shade some of the front area is about $50,000. And then in the estimate, you've of course got your mobilization and bonding for the contractor of $82,000. And then always we have our contingency fee at 15%, and that is an additional $73,000. So when we did the fiscal year 25 capital projects for the golf course, they came to $525,000. Thankfully, Randy did his stormwater project, which we had estimated at $1.1 million, and he came in under budget, and so there's $225,000 remaining from that. We had told council when he was done with that project, we would give you the update on that, and then perhaps you could give us some guidance on what you would like the funds to be used for. Also, Christine has been working on finishing off all last year's budget, preparing for the audit, doing everything else. And she has indicated that right now, based on their operational costs, that there's about $700,000 in excess cash reserves for the golf course. So if council would like to go forward with the parking lot expansion, it's about a 30-day bid process, more or less. And then about another 30 days to tap those and then to bring it back to city council for approval. And then 4 to 6 months for construction. And I put CPS plus because anytime you get CPS involved, there's greening. Your project can go from 4 to 6 months to 8 to 12 months. So without knowing fully what CPS would require this. So what we're looking for is some council direction on whether you'd like us to move forward with the parking lot expansion. Obviously, we have to do the ADA, we can't get around that. And then whether or not you want the optional sewer line in there. And then some direction on the funding sources.
Maybe before anybody answers on that one, I think this will give us 250 parking spaces available.
Yes, sir.
And for the folks that are using, especially on Thursday afternoons, when we're having the, I guess, small mini tournaments and happy hour events and other type of events going out there, parking is at a premium. So I think it's imperative that a parking lot go forward, but it's up to the council to what direction we want to go. And with that, Mr. Vaughan, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'll just say that I'm good with the parking lot improvements. You haven't told me that the sewer line's necessary, so I'd say I'd probably save that, and then this leftover stormwater money, I'd say leave it in the stormwater fund, since you have enough to afford.
Well, we can't leave it in the stormwater funds.
Wasn't part of it paid for by stormwater?
It
Wasn't it like a
is.
50-50?
It's venue tax.
It was a combination though, wasn't it? Because venue tax paid in some, and some was paid from stormwater?
So it was all venue tax, and we moved it over in increments. So we can't leave it in stormwater. Either we put it back in the venue fund and it sits in the reserves. But remember that even though we have the $525,000 in this year's budget, that wasn't all for parking. We had talked about when the parking was done, we haven't painted the building, now Katie's reminding me, 12 years since the building's been painted and power washed and the lighting fixtures have been upgraded. So there was funds in the budget for that as well. So you can, as Mr. Vaughan said, you can move it back into the reserves or the golf course reserves, or you can just use it to try to finish up some of the other projects that we have a budget for the golf course.
So then I'd say move it back to the mini tax fund, the leftover stormwater. To move it back to the mini tax fund to save it for future projects, and then I would say move forward on parking lot without the sewer line. That's my recommendation.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Ms. Gray?
I'm going to make just a little comment of this golf course. This team has always turned lemons into lemonade. During COVID, you've always had slumps, and you come back bigger and better. Renovations are beautiful. I've seen them. It's crazy. Parking is insane. People come by, they want to go into an event, and they leave because there's not enough parking for them. So in order for all of these events there to grow, I think we have to have this parking lot going. You don't start something and have a beautiful renovation and stop 3/4 through. You pull it through. So I think we need to go ahead with it.
And Pro Tem, you were up hand up.
Yeah, I would. Thank you. I know that it makes sense to do as much as you can in a project that makes sense that we can afford, because you're paying to have the crew come out anyway. Can you talk a little bit more about the sewer line project and why that's anticipated to be helpful to add in here?
So part of that was done off of just some focus groups that we had done among staff and Katie's group. I can't remember. They were photographers, other venue, wedding planners. And so they had came and they had given all of us some feedback. And the issue they had is that the golfers were impinging on the weddings and the wedding activities. Not so much in the clubhouse itself, but the outside wedding area is adjacent to the entrance into the golf course, and it's also adjacent to where the carts are returned. And so unfortunately, golfers would be yelling things like, "Don't do it, you'll regret it." And so the wedding people are unhappy with the golfers. But at the same time, the golfers are unhappy with the wedding people because now they have to stop or go around, or they've got to go to the front of the clubhouse to run and get their stuff instead of the back. So a little bit of conflict amongst our clientele. And so that's why we had met with an architect and said, hey, if we were ever to do this, what would your recommendation be? And that was the recommendation. So as Randy always does, he's kind of in a pre-planning mode. And so he was looking out in the future. If we were going to do that, we know we have to have a separate sewer line because there's no sewer over there. Water's not that big of an issue. But again, that's why it's optional. We don't know the direction we're going to go in the future. We don't know the direction that this council or any other future councils want to go. We're just looking forward.
Does the sewer line location, is it interfering with the new parking lot? Is it underneath the new parking lot at all?
It'll run up to it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so, my job is to plan. That's what we as staff does, is plan for the future. This has been talked about, and the reason why it was added, it is under the new parking lot. And then the ADA improvements that we're doing, we're gonna be tearing it up. So the plan is to run the sewer, stub it out like a future lot. It's there if we need it. But the last thing I like to do is improve a new street and then come back and start doing sewer lines and tearing up the street. So this sewer line would run across where the ADA that we're going to be improving. The last thing I want to do is have to tear that back up, and the parking lot that we just put into. So that's the reason why it's in there for
Yes.
$50,000.
So it basically runs, if you're looking at the front of the building, on the right side of the building where the cart path is. It runs generally from there, and then it runs all the way down to where the cart path begins on the other side, which is generally the area where if you ever decided to expand the facility, we would have to go.
mean, I totally understand what Councilmember Vaughan was saying is, if we don't have to, then let's not. But knowing that I totally agree, and it frustrates me beyond belief whenever we've just finished a parking lot, there's something that has to be cut in. It's the worst thing in the world. It's not quite. It's pretty bad. So I'm not as good as he is as far as, move this money there, here. But I am a fan of putting that infrastructure in so that it doesn't cause issues in the future. So I like the idea of that being in on day one.
So we have an option on that. We can bid the project with the parking lot expansion and do an add-alt for the sewer line project to come back with not just a probable estimated cost of construction, but a cost of construction. And then council can decide at that time if they want it or not.
Councilmember Bulman? Yes.
I
don't think she heard you.
We can't hear you.
We cannot hear you.
There we go. Hello? Lost that. There you go. I hear you.
Okay, I guess come back. Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, alright, sorry. Okay, so I just wanted to give my 2 cents. I'm all for the parking lot. I'm not sold on the sewer either, mostly just because you're talking about another big project, and I think until the golf course becomes like super awesomely self-sufficient, I think it's good to not expand on something that's kind of controversial and still an issue with the residents. So for me, I think the parking lot's awesome, but I'm not sold on the second part of it. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rubal?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. We currently are working toward developing a business plan for the golf course, I think. And basically, without the business plan that allows the golf course a chance, essentially, to sustain itself, not only to maintain itself, but sustain itself for the future, it's very difficult to put everything in perspective. If we tally up all the costs, we're from when things started, we're talking pretty close to $4.5 million from the beginning to end, including the 2021 Plan D that was presented by you. That's a chunk of change without essentially a clear statement that the golf course will be able to sustain itself. And basically there's a moral lesson in business that I've had to take a course in, and it says escalation of commitment. And one of the issues in escalation of commitment is that you have an idea, it's a good idea, but it's not working, it's not paying for itself, it's not generating the expected revenue. So you keep on putting money into it, and without a real plan or chance of seeing things move forward. So it's not rounds of golf, it's not excellent Claire, it's really the bottom line, whether it's going to pay for itself and sustain itself, just like the golf courses in San Antonio that are managed very, very well, that are profitable. They don't require tax revenue, hotel taxes, and so forth in order to support them. So basically, it's beautiful. I don't see a lot of residents being able to afford some of these amenities and experiences type thing that will feed the outside world. And I don't see the outside world really feeding the economy except for perhaps the local hotel there. So I think I would advise caution on moving forward with this without a concrete business plan that is currently in the works that identifies this as a municipal enterprise operation. That's my principal concern. I would love to see the golf course succeed and move on, again, great people and so forth. But the bottom line is the cost, burden, and whether it's going to be after 20 years that hasn't shown a profit yet, more debt for the people in the future. So those are my concerns. Again, I favor a maintained, sustained golf course operation, but there has to be a business plan to show that before we commit to such growth. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Goolsby?
Thank you. Thursday nights, I can go and listen to music without having to buy anything, right? So it doesn't matter how much I make, I can go and hang out and have a good time?
Correct.
Okay, check. How much does Red Horse Park bring in every year? How much does the library bring in every year? How much does the disc golf course bring in every year? Thank you. Let's see. I get out and I talk to other city municipalities, council members, mayors, county officials. I'm out and about. I've talked to so many of them and said, hey, this golf course, it's kind of a divisive thing on my council. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, well, it doesn't make millions of dollars every year. I don't know how much its budget is, but do I just throw up my hands and get rid of it? Like, why would you do that? That thing is like fantastic for Universal City. Okay? And that's happened with more than just one group of people. The other day I was at one of those events and in Marion, and I said, y'all should come check out our new greens. And like, we've already seen it. It's fantastic. But thanks for throwing in Universal City while we're here talking about Marion. So it happens. And a lot of people outside of Universal City appreciate the park, the golf course. I just wish that everybody in Universal City would quit seeing it as a private club and start going and enjoying it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make, I guess, a caveat on that one is that it is part of our marketing plan. The golf course is part of the marketing plan for the city, as well as Red Horse and the big golf and the big park and the associated accessory parks that are around the city. So we have a lot of other areas that are lost leaders that bring people in. And for every person that comes into the city, they leave additional money and revenue. If we just close off and not let anybody in the city, like one candidate wanted to do in the past, we might as well just fold up, because you're going to be paying nothing but property taxes to pay for everything, because there'll be no revenue tax. That's just my opinion. I'm going to call for a consensus at this time on what we're proposing. Do we want to go with the consensus to go forward, or a tabulation with amendments?
Mr.
It's not a debate. It's not a debate. Just tell us what
Point
you
of
want
order.
to do.
Point of order, Mr.
Point of
Mayor.
order is, we're not.
Point of order.
You had your say.
Parliamentary request.
It has been done, and we're going to go forward now. I've already called for the request for this consensus.
Parliamentary request, please.
You're looking at the wrong person. And I've already said no.
I challenge the chair.
Noted. Okay.
No, sir.
Noted. We'll talk about it.
Parliamentary request.
I'm sorry, sir.
It requires now a majority vote, sir.
It doesn't require a vote. It's just a consensus. We're not voting on anything right now. We're just going for a consensus to move forward. Is your consensus no?
My consensus is no.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
I would like to see the proposal and include the proposed improvement with the sewer line.
As an alternate?
I think as an alternate at this point, because I know that there's some hesitation on that, but I think it should be included, the pricing, as a bid.
I agree with her.
Ms. Bowman? Ms. Bowman, your consensus?
Sorry, just what I said before, I'm okay with the golf course, or I'm okay with the parking lot.
With the-
No, that's what you're asking, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it as an alternate project.
As an alternate project, okay.
I don't think the Ashton's here.
Yeah.
Did you hear that,
Can you hear? Can you hear?
No, I'm sorry, one more time.
Yeah, okay, we're agreeing basically with you, with a couple of modifications, making it as an addendum.
Sorry, you're saying
We're
don't
going
do
forward.
it, but we'll lock on a sewer, I'm sorry, it's so hard to hear.
It's going to be, it's going to be separately funded, or separately listed, I should say. And once all the prices come in, and the costs come in, and the bids come in, a final decision will be made at that time.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So, with, that's 5-1, I'd say go forward with it.
Thank you, so we understand the direction.
At this time, we're going to go into executive session. My apologies for early on, but we need to stop and close the meeting at 7:26.
It's warmer than
8:21. Council is back in order. Next up is citizens to be heard. It's an opportunity for citizens to give us feedback. No action will be taken. We've got one person signed up, and Lacey, Gosh. It is Gosh. Justin ISD. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Mayor Maxwell. Absolutely. My name is Dr. Lacey Gosh, and I am here from the Judson Independent School District. So it's an honor to be here to speak with you, Mayor Maxwell and Council. I am here on behalf of Dr. Fields and the cabinet members of Judson. We recently have adopted a new scorecard that has some goals labeled out for the next 4 years for the district. And one of the areas that we do want to focus on has to do with our relationships with our governmental entities. And we want to continue a partnership. I know we've always had a great partnership with Universal City, and we want to continue that and would like to make sure that we are able to keep you guys updated. I know that your police department and fire departments have been instrumental in working with us in these most recent days with our drills at our campuses and our schools. So we appreciate their cooperation and their support very much and everything that the city does for us. We are having a very close focus on academics. For the last several years, we've very much been focused on budget. And we are turning our eyes towards a new academic goal of what we call 10%, 5%, and 3%, where we're looking at growth goals for our students overall. We want all of our students to achieve at the highest rate possible, and we do want everybody at that level, but we do want to set incremental goals for the student body as a whole, while our campuses have much higher goals that they set for themselves. So we want to say thank you for all that you do, and if we can do anything to help the city, please reach out to us.
Thank you, Dr. Gosh. Citizens to be heard. Next is public hearing. At this time, the public is invited to address each item listed below. Request that you keep your comments in 3 minutes. Public hearing A, BC 614. Request for a specific use permit, 234 Flintstone Lane, Lot 3.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, excellent. So, as you mentioned, Mayor and Council, this request before you is for a specific use permit for an accessory residential unit, or more commonly called an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, basically a mother-in-law suite. The property is 234 Flintstone Lane, which is depicted on the aerial on the board. And this property is zoned R3, medium density residential. Per our zoning code, an ARU or an ADU does require specific use permits. There are some requirements that we have looked into with regard to what is being proposed. Basically, it will be a separate building at the back of the property. It will meet the setback requirements, the height requirement, the size requirements. It will be kept in the family. They'll be turning this into basically 3 generations will be living on the property. Let's see, anything else? It meets the maximum lot coverage. There are some renderings that were included in your packet that show what the ADU will look like. And then it did go before P&Z this month and received unanimous recommendation for approval. 36 notices were sent out. We did receive 3 of those that were returned with no objection to the proposed ADU. The applicant and her contractor are here to answer any specific questions you might have. If you'd like to say a few things, you're more than welcome to right now.
All right. Well, thank you for having us. We're going to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Any questions?
Mayor, did you open the public hearing?
Actually, yes, I did.
Okay, what was the time that you
I did
did,
not.
sir?
I did not give the time, and it's the 8:20.
Oh, thank you so much.
I did not.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That being said,
That's fine. So yes, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. I believe everybody was present went over it last time. One of the main reasons here is safety purposes, being handicap accessible. We do meet all the setbacks, elevations. We're set to build. If we can get this approved, we're set to build in the next 2 to 3 weeks, depending on permit processing and blueprints as well from an architect. It'll take us about 3 or 4 months to build. That's about it.
is this going to? I have one question. Is this going to be an adjacent building or a separate building?
It's going to be separate, non-attached.
Move to approve. Do you have Miss Lena Cannon who would want to make a statement? Ms. Turner?
And some of your council members are talking very low. If we could ask you to raise your voices, I can barely hear you, so I'm assuming that
They might have
back
to turn the microphone.
and they're all shaking their head, they can't hear you. Please, thank you.
The last time I was here before the planning and zoning committee, I just could tell if people were smiling and nodding because I hadn't worn my hearing aids. I could tell it was a pretty positive audience, but I was glad for that. I just want to say that I'm not a newcomer to Universal City. My brother was stationed at Roundabout Air Force Base, retired here. That was his house, and I inherited it. My daughter and granddaughter have been living there, and I'm now selling a house in Kingsville and moving in. And so I'm not a mother-in-law. I'm the mother, the head of the house. So we'll all be living there, and just us. So thank you.
Thank you very much. No questions or anything? No? And just a quick question.
Is there an alley behind the built area? I couldn't tell from the drawing that you know
There is not an alley.
Okay.
That's on the neighbor behind.
Looks like a nice layout. I copied it.
Okay. Thank you.
If there's no others, I'll close the hearing at this time at 8:30.
Thank you.
And we'll go to public hearing 612, ZC 261, request for amendment to the future land use planning and approximately 7.7 acre tract at 205 Byrd. And open the meeting at 8:30.
Maribel, would you go to 205 West Wood, please?
She has a
It's
Oh, right there, okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mayor, Council. So the petition before you is for a request for a future land use plan amendment, as well as a zoning map amendment to the C4 commercial district. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through some highlights, some background, and some points to consider. And first I'll start with, this property was zoned originally B1 neighborhood business back in 1977 and 1981 when the buildings, there's 2 buildings at this location, were originally constructed, and the zoning ordinance in place at the time was Ordinance 70-A. However, in 2007, the property was rezoned to ROT Old Town Residential, along with several other properties in that area. Due to that, commercial uses became non-conforming per that section in our zoning code. However, commercial uses continued until earlier this year when the non-conforming status lapsed. As a result, the new uses have to conform with the ROT, or the residential district. Therefore, the petitioner is requesting the FLUP amendment to commercial, as well as the rezoning to a C4 commercial district. So some points to consider is that the aviation district master plan. Obviously, this has been in place for the last 4 years. It did go before City Council for consideration. A resolution was approved last year ratifying the guidelines within the aviation district master plan. Within the master plan, some C4 uses are compatible while others are not compatible. If you look at the staff memo, there was that table on page 2 that really went into some detail and identified the uses that are compatible, the ones which are not. Some of the desired uses would not be allowed in the C4 district, which is important to point out. For example, bars, restaurants, and other retail type uses. The city and the EDC's focus is primarily on the east side of the aviation district, so the east side of Pat Booker Road. We're not specifically focused on the west side where this property is located at this time. So one of the questions, or a couple of the questions to ask, is how long will it take the west side of the aviation district to materialize? That's one point to consider. And what is realistic? Okay, so we do have the aviation district master plan. It's a vision. We'd like to try and meet that at some point in the near future. The market will dictate whether or not that can be accomplished. So on the west side, how long will that take? And is there an interim use or an interim set of uses that could accommodate both sides, a win-win? So what is the likelihood of a heavy user occupying the property? So, one thing that we have to consider is that there are 2 single-family homes adjacent to this property at the rear. So would a heavy user complement those existing single-family homes? Leave that up to you. Basic industry does require a specific use permit. Custom manufacturing is permitted, but it must be indoors. Light manufacturing, which is processing, fabrication, assembly, treatment, and packaging, is permitted. Warehousing and distribution is permitted in C4. And vehicle storage, meaning an impound yard, those require a specific use permit in the C4 district. So one other thing that we'd like to point out is that because of the configuration or the placement of the building on the lot, meaning that it's really backed up against the rear lot line, that the property is somewhat self-restricting when it comes to outdoor storage. So our zoning code does have outdoor storage requirements, and based on those specific requirements, they would be very limited in where they can actually have outdoor storage, the way the code is written today, the way those buildings are placed. We did send out 24 notices as required by state code. We did receive 4 letters of support, and those were, we do have those available for you. P&Z did consider this earlier this month. They failed to approve the request. It was a split 3-3 for the FLUP and then ultimately the rezoning request. So at P&Z, some of the P&Z commissioners were okay with the C4 request. Some wanted a less intense use, like a C1, C2, or C3 designation. and some wanted to consider a planned unit development. And so the applicant's attorney is here today. They can make a presentation. Since the P&Z meeting, we have been in talks with the applicant, the property owner, as well as his attorneys to talk about coming to maybe a win-win negotiation of sorts through a planned unit development. And as you're aware, with all the previous planned unit developments that have come before you, we do allow the applicants to come and make a concept level presentation to you at the outset before they spend a lot of time and money. And so what we're asking you to consider tonight is some of that PUD elements, because we do believe that with a planned unit development, we're able to take uses from the C4 district as well as uses from the other commercial districts that meet both sides' desires. They might not be immediate for the city, but ultimately, as this area redevelops, we believe that some of those retail uses, bars, restaurants, retail, straight retail, might come to fruition because of the market changes down the road. However, with some of the C4 uses that the applicant would like to have in place, that would be his immediate concern. Let's see, am I missing anything? No? Okay.
Sounds good.
So with that said, Evelyn, something?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. We do have the applicant's attorney is here, and would you like to make a presentation?
Sure.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Councilmembers. Kelly McDonald here with Ron McDonald here on behalf of the applicant, property owner of 205 West Byrd. Mr. Casada summed it up pretty much perfectly. There was a lot of discussion at the P&Z meeting earlier this month. There were a couple of motions. The members went back and forth on their recommendations of the fluff as well as the zoning. And so with that careful consideration, we agree with staff right now. We'd like to further negotiate the PUD, and so I'm requesting to postpone the consideration of the C4 request. With that, some of the elements that we've been discussing with staff since that P&Z meeting are some of the uses that the C4 zoning district would allow that the property owner had under his non-conforming use permit. And then some of the development standards that go along with the C4, or with those uses under the C4. Some of those uses are, and this is the part where Mr. Casado said to bring up maybe some of the preliminary requirements that I'm going to list out for you. There is a need for limited outdoor storage for some of the uses, and that outdoor storage would be a component of some warehousing and some equipment storage for a sort of construction trade contractors building. We could go forward in the presentation. There are pictures of the building that we have that you could see. It was built some time ago, and it does sort of look like a warehouse. Next slide. There we go. So the property owner did redo the parking earlier this year, but as you can see, the buildings are really suited for offices, some sort of warehousing, and some sort of storage. So we are going back and forth between the limited warehousing and the warehousing district. And then there was some discussion on the screening that would go with the outdoor storage. And so we'd like the time to sit down with staff again and discuss the PUD. I do think we are very close, and so I'll leave it at that, but I am available for any questions if you have them, and again, the request is to postpone.
One question before I open it to members. How much time do you require for negotiation?
I think we're very close. I think we could postpone this to the next city council meeting. We would meet with P&Z before that, so I think, are you all meeting on the 5th?
No, actually, we wouldn't need to meet with P&Z if we postponed it.
Oh, okay.
It would just come back to the council.
Okay, that would be great.
So for clarifications, your understanding, the next city council meeting is November 6th.
Okay, that's great.
I'll give you 3 weeks to do.
Oh, Ms. Bulman is indicating that she's having a hard time hearing you, and she's asking if you can speak up. Yes.
I will.
Any questions from the council?
Is the fencing?
I hesitate to have us get too far into questions since we're in the public hearing portion right now. So if we can develop the public hearing portions, and then when we get to the discussion item, have a more robust discussion about the question or any questions we have. I just don't want us to get too far in the weeds and stray from the purpose of the public hearing, which is to solicit testimony on the record.
So, y'all in agreement to postpone?
That will be for the discussion item.
That's right, I keep forgetting that one. My apologies on that one. We still have to go back to the item.
Yeah.
So the question is does the applicant, legal counsel have any other information they would like to provide? And is there anyone else in the room that has signed up to speak or would like to speak regarding this particular future land use change request that we're having a public hearing for at this point?
No one else has signed up under the name of Thomas. Does anybody else have any information that they'd like to share with us tonight? In that case, then we'll close the public meeting at 8:41. And we're going to open up another public hearing. Request for zoning map amendment from residential O-Town residents to District C4 General Commercial District for approximately 0.717.
Thank you, Mayor. So again, this is for the same property. This is a second request related to the proposed use or changes. The first was for the fluff. This is for the zoning amendments. Again, just to clarify, the future land use plan is essentially the parent classification, and the zoning classifications fall underneath that. And they break it down into more detail for the specific types of uses. The request before you is for a C4 general commercial designation with different types of uses, but as was just mentioned, we're requesting that that be postponed to November 6th while city staff and the applicants work out some details on proposed planning and development for this property.
Thank you. Any additional information? Ms. McDonald?
Mr. Mayor, no, it's easy to get the fluff and the zoning request combined, so I'll answer questions when consideration is up.
All right, thank you. I'll close at 8:43. Next we go into city manager's announcements.
Mr. Vaughan had asked a very good question earlier today, and I thought I would just share his question and my answer with you, and then add a little extra items to it. He had inquired where we were on the last $6 million that the city council had issued for street bonds. So we are at the 60% stage for the construction plans for the, how many streets were there? 12 streets, so we're at 60% construction plan. The point that they moved in now is they are looking for utility conflicts. So that would be your telecom, your fiber, your gas, your electric. And so all of that can then be attended to at this point. And so we're anticipating going out to bid in February of 2025. So we would hope that sometime in March of 2025, we'll have a contractor with the low bid for the low bid and most approved bid for council to consider. In addition, there are other street projects that we are getting ready to start. The Hillview project is under construction now. We have 2 other sets of street plans that are out for bid. We'll have bid openings in October, and that is Persia Drive, which some of you are familiar with because we've been talking about that for a couple of years. And then East Langley and National are also out for bid, and so we'll have those projects to council sometime within the next 30 or 45 days for approval. And that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Council member announcements, and Council member, we'll start with you.
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Bowman?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Ms. Putt?
I'm good tonight.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I just want to share my appreciation to the city staff for all the support that they've done for the pumpkin patch. They've really gone above and beyond, and we appreciate it so much. So that's the communications department, public works, fire, police. Really, it's been very touching to see all of the involvement. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rubal.
Believe it or not, Mr. Mayor, nothing tonight.
I'm gonna make fun of
It's a red letter day.
Ditto.
Mayor announcements are very, I appreciate all the folks that make the pumpkin patch materialize out there. That's a total 100% volunteers and organizations have done that. I know last year you had $90,000 kind of, where are you sitting this year?
Not to correct you, but 96.
$96,000.
I don't want to correct you, though.
$96,000, all of my volunteers. And I hope you exceed that this year. This afternoon, I did come out a little bit early. Olympia School was out there.
Olympia Elementary.
Olympia Elementary, they had their choir singing, and then they had the cheerleaders go out and do a presentation and everything else. And it's a way to get the community to come out. And they were having a good time out there. I hope you had good sales with that. And I know that they get a percentage of those sales that come out there. So with that being said, keep up the good work and we'll move on forward.
Thank you.
Next comes the consent agenda. This is a vote for all the items listed. I don't think there's anybody has a request to be pulled separately. So with that being said,
Spelling correction on the minutes, sir.
there is a spelling correction on the minutes.
There's a couple drops of water difference between zero escaping and zeri escaping. And I think the word used was zeri escape.
Yes. I see the X.
Move to
For that correction.
Second.
With the corrections. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Opposed. Action items. No tap, executive session. So there's no vote on the executive session based on the material.
Correct, sir. You're just moving.
So we're just moving along.
Yeah, there's no action pertaining to anything that was listed for executive session. So you are moving to tab B.
Okay, tab B, resolution 9752-024, resolution of City Council member for Texas approving the sale of approximately 1.5 acres of rural property to the Economic Development Corporation with Chick-Fil-A Incorporated. And call for a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Tab C, ordinance 655S 2024, ordinance approving a specific use permit to Sid Lena at 234 Flintstone. Call for motion.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I gotta read, that's the one I gotta read. All right, after conducting a public hearing on the request for a specific use permit for the property at 234 Flintstone Lane and receiving the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation, the City Council has considered the request and moved to approve PC 614-SU-026 and to grant a specific use permit to allow an accessory residential unit use to Sue Glenna Camden.
I second.
Call for the vote. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Welcome home.
Thanks for waiting.
Ordinance amending future land use plan, change land use designation property located at 205 West Byrd Boulevard from medium R density, and this is where we need to make a.
This is your future land use plan, so yes, discussion amongst council.
I move that we postpone tabs D and E to the November 6th council meeting.
We're gonna do one at a time. So we'll postpone and vote on the first, on the fluff, and then we'll have the mayor read out the next item, and then we'll do another vote on that.
And remember that before you go to vote, you can have discussion.
Yes.
So before, you have a motion and a second, and then you can have discussion.
Right.
And then a vote, normal process.
I'll try again. So I move to postpone tab D ordinance number 632, PC 585, fluff 2024 to the November 6th meeting.
Second. Discussion?
So at what point do we talk about what we would?
You can discuss all of those items, all the questions that you were wanting to ask or like feeling that
The
were
ones you
public.
talked about earlier?
Yes.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Within reason, the floor is yours.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to know, I want to know how much storage you're talking about, because while Mr. Casada says we're working on the other side of Pat Booker, I still have visions for this side of Pat Booker. And he doesn't let me store stuff in my front, in my office, so I don't want to see a bunch of stuff out there. But I understand you need to do some, you would like to, he would like, not you, he would like to store something out there, or the tenant. How do we limit that? How do I screen that? I don't want to see a chain link fence. That's not screening. I don't want to see a chain link fence with the little doodads in the thing. That's not screening. They fall apart. Chain link fence with the net. That's not screening. I know what I want. I mean, but it's probably more than anybody wants to pay for as far as a screening fence. So that's where I'm looking for other people to tell me what they find acceptable. And I want to know how much you are looking to store and how do we get there? Sorry, okay.
Yes, and if I can answer as best as I can, we're limited in how much outdoor storage that we can have. It's a small parking lot. We still have to meet parking requirements for the business that goes in. And so the space would be limited. I do not have the measurements with me right now. We just had a discussion with staff this afternoon. And so we are kind of recalibrating and going back to the drawing board on some of these specific things. But it's made very clear from staff, and the client and the property owner also knows what Universal City is looking for. And so we are going back to the drawing board on screening and fencing. I think there was some sort of request for 8-foot fence along with the screening. And so again, we're going back and getting bids and seeing how much some of this would cost.
Because for me, the screening, again, is not chain link fence with the stuff in it. Screening to me is a nice cutout metal panel with masonry columns and all these things.
Yes.
I'd like to kind of, I don't know if other people on council are willing to chime in, but I'm a pain, so I try to calm myself down a little bit every now and then. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Is that really all feedback that you need from us to help try to negotiate the PUD? Is mainly the fencing and screening, or are there other aspects that you're concerned about?
There's some of the uses really, warehousing, where you're going back and forth between the limited and the general warehousing. And I think we need to, there are 2 active tenants he's negotiating with to get in there. And so while he's drilling down on some of the uses that they need as far as warehousing, we're discussing those with staff. And so the 2 tenants he's negotiating with right now would be typical tenants that he would have had before. I think one is small gardening and maintenance, outdoor power equipment type use. So a little bit of retail, a little bit of storage, maintenance on site. And then the other one would be a concrete company where they have an office there and they'll park their trucks during the day and then go out to the site, come back. and then the unit. So those are the two uses that, you know, he has in mind right now, and that would hopefully meet the PUD that we come and bring before you next month.
Sure. I don't particularly have a problem with that. I mean, if it's really big concrete equipment, I'm envisioning like one of those big spinny trucks. That
Yes,
park
I
out there.
do believe we are restricted from doing that.
Okay, so I mean, that would make me a little nervous if there's a big spinning truck out there, but
Again,
whatever they're called.
yeah, the site is very limited, it's not that large, so I don't, we have to meet parking requirements still, so.
Sure.
I think we'd be-
But otherwise, the warehousing seems fine to me, and I'm probably a little bit less stringent than the architect next to me, but I do think screening would probably be wise, whatever you come up with. That's all I'm thinking.
Well, we're so close to a residential area. I really think we need to keep them in mind that they're not feeling like they're in a construction zone, having their homes there. So screening, yeah, is big. I don't want to drive down the road, going to my house and seeing all of the spinny trucks or anything like that out there. It's, you know, really enclose it and make it look nice.
Yes, and the buildings will stay the same. I think if there's anything added as far as that intensity of use, then we will address it with fencing and screening.
Yeah, I'm all for giving you time to negotiate, make everyone happy.
Yeah, I think bottom line is we would like for this to be successful. We'd like the negotiation to move forward and for you to present something back to us that we feel good about and that you feel good about. So, as Byrd said, we do have opinions on the screening and what goes in there and what type of business and the impact to the other people that are close to that. So as long as you feel like you have good guidance to, you know, that we want you to have what you need to come back and be successful. So if there's anything else that you want an opinion on, please make sure that we get it out.
I think it's really the outdoor storage and the warehousing is where we were left. Please correct me if I'm missing anything or not reading my notes correctly. I think those were the two big things. I think the materials, you made it pretty clear on what you're looking for as far as the fence goes. And so we will take that back and discuss.
And one question, yes. And as far as the parking lot is big and it's enclosed now, are you thinking about having the storage area be a subset of that and so kind of off to the side, perhaps?
Yes, yes, perhaps, but again.
Yeah, I get the fact that you haven't negotiated yet, so.
Well, no, we have to meet the parking requirements for the square footage of the building, so we're somewhat limited.
Okay.
In that regard.
I'm tracking the good vibes moving forward. Hope that it all works out next time we meet.
I have one comment only is, what size of vehicles are we talking about? Because I mean, the street is relatively narrow, and going out towards 1604, and the size of vehicles on a daily basis going in and running through is concerning.
Yes, and that was actually a topic of discussion today and when we were meeting with staff, and they are, I believe, all smaller vehicles. I think there's a standard of 3 ton in the code, and I don't think we expect to be anywhere near that, so.
Anything else?
Yeah, just, I would just advise them to seriously consider what Michael has to say with that, and as far as that vision for UC, I mean, because the relationship to Pat Booker, that area has a lot of potential. I don't want to get stranded into a 90-year lease that's paid for and that building sits empty. I don't like that. We've already got a couple of those. So Michael's got a wonderful handle on what's the pulse people that are looking for. I think that it would be in your client's best interest to listen to what he has to say and understand that, an investment today will pay off big in a few years.
Yes.
Ms. Bulman, do you have a question? All right, no other discussion. Call for the vote to propose the phone.
Councilmember Vaughan?
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman?
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Tab E, ordinance number 581 through C603, ordinance for the city of Universal City approving zoning map amendment for approximately 7.17 acre tract and 205 Byrd. Call for a motion. Call for the motion.
Motion to postpone.
Do I have a second?
To a date certain.
Date?
So what they said on the last one, for the next council meeting.
November 6th.
November 6th.
You're so mean.
I know.
Have a second.
Second.
And we have discussion. Yes, ma'am.
I want to remind council and the applicant, so when it comes back to you, it's going to be in a PUD ordinance. And you're going to have time then to have this discussion again with the applicant. And if you want or need to, on either side, make modifications between the first reading and the second reading, you can still do that at the next meeting. Just want to make sure everybody understands that you still are having discussions with the applicant when we get to the November 6th meeting. Thank you.
I have to ask any further discussion. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Congratulations. Thank you. We'll see you in 3 weeks. Tab F, bid acceptance for the Kitty Hawk Thoroughfare Roundabout improvements. Call for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Can you explain what the residents can expect on Kitty Hawk? Like once the construction starts, what are we?
So the construction that's happening now is not this construction, just so you understand. We know that Kitty Hawk's under construction right now, but that's a sewer line project. So he's asking with the Kitty Hawk Thoroughfare and Roundabout what they can expect.
I guess maybe if you can do both, that'd be great.
Sure.
So like, what are people expecting on Kitty Hawk for the next several months?
Okay, well, we're gonna.
Well, this is gonna take a while, right?
Yes, it will take a while, and it's a phased plan that we have in place. Basically, you'll look at the thoroughfare where there'll be an interruption of the entrance into Walmart. We'll have a phased approach there, and sometimes it'll be one way in, one way out. So if you're trying to make a right turn in, you may not be able to one day, and you go further down part of the short thing. So that interruption will be probably happen on day one when they start work. Without talking to the contractor, having his phasing plan on how they want to approach it. Once we have that pre-con meeting with them, then we'll know how they want to tackle it. But that work will begin. That's probably the only disruption there. On Kitty Hawk, there will be modifications to the traffic signal. So you'll see lanes closure for that. There will be some island it's not Robin, but is it Robin? I'm trying to think. Right there at Quell, Robin turns in. Okay, at Quell, there will be that island right there where you won't be able to take a left turn in. So that will be closed off. So there will be modifications to the islands themselves. The noses into the Walmart driveway will be shortened in anticipation of the new turn lane. That'd be as you're exiting the Walmart drive, making a right turn lane. So there's some work on that Kitty Hawk section there. So there'll be inside lane closures to where it'll be probably on the outside travel lanes only that you can travel. And then we have the church driveway. So there'll be the approach into the driveway. They'll be doing construction there. So there'll be probably having to do that, being that's the only way in and out to make left-hand turns. That would probably be phased as well, doing that work. So a lot of communication, a lot of signage, a lot of messaging type of work on it.
So as far as lane closures on Kitty Hawk, do you have somebody's yelling at me in December saying, "Why is the lane closed? How long is it going to be closed?" Do you have like going to get a window where you think like this might take 4 to 5 months where we might have some lane closures on Kitty Hawk? Or do you think
I don't
that bad?
No, I think that's going to be towards, again, I got to wait till they give us their plan, because that's how they'll bid it, and they give us their time frame when they have the closures on there. So we'll know more in the future once we meet with them on that. But typically, we don't want that closure to happen that long. As you know, if y'all drove Kitty Hawk with the sewer line, we did it within a week, off and on, 2 weeks, but it wasn't closing the whole week itself. So we'll do the same thing when we work it out, where it's minimized on how long it has to be done. But on a project like this with doing traffic signals, you're gonna see a lot of trucks out there. That's a major job if you've seen traffic signal work. The good thing is we'll be working on the church property, we'll be working on the entrance into Walmart. So there's not a whole lot until they start doing the boring, but a lot of it's boring work and stuff like that. I think the longest work will be the island. We're gonna have to do that.
So one of the things, Mr. Vaughan, I think that might be helpful to you and the other council members is when their lane closures are going to happen, the police and the fire department are notified ahead of time because they have to find alternative routes. It might be that when we're notifying them that we can advise council at the same time. That way you'll know before it starts and what that time period for closure is.
Or the alert system, you can say, hey, just give me some lane closures next couple of weeks.
We
But
did.
it won't affect everybody. That's
Yeah, the
problem.
sewer line, when we were doing that work out on that sewer line, we did post that on the detour route. I don't know if you saw that or not, but we did post that one out there. You got it, yeah. So we'll be doing the same thing.
The problem is there's only 1,700 people that have actually signed up of the 6,700 residences and 400 businesses. So while that is a great communication tool, it's not our best tool yet because people haven't signed up and they need to. But I think posting it there, and we'll obviously have some on the website as well and social media.
So people should sign up so they can get this information.
Yes. Help us out here. Help us help you.
And I have our project engineer, Nolan Pierce, he's with Kimley Horn, and he just advised me that a week ahead of time the message board would go up with any lane closures. So it'd be in advance, a week in advance.
But we'll do our best to notify council as a group and then get it out to the public after we notify.
Any other questions? Let's call for the vote.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Tab G, authorization to reimbursement for pay application number 1 from D&D Contractors for CDBG Hillview Drive.
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay. Got that?
Who was the second?
Me.
Okay, thank you.
Discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
As closed. Ladies and gentlemen, at 9:08, adjourned.